whole point of pivoting as well is to understand we as human beings have options. You have options.
I was the only one that left. They were trying to make me feel like I was crazy.
Yeah.
They were trying to gaslight me all. They were trying to make me feel bad. And I was like, no. Introduce yourself.
Hey, what's going on, good people? It's good to be here with you, Patience, and the For the Redefined audience.
Yes, we're happy that you're here. Okay, so let's just get right into it. So, obviously they don't know, but I know that you have Jumpstart, your business, and
she did these beautiful logos here with her other business as well.
Yes, me and my friend Erica, we did those together. And I guess we could do custom designs for you guys. It's a side business, but
just saying
if you want. But yeah, so just tell us a little bit about yourself. You can tell us about the business as well, or just anything that's just a general information about yourself.
Yeah, so my name again is Darryl Brown with Jumpstart Coaching and Development Solutions. Really, all of what I do and all of who I am is about supporting people in their process to become better, right? Like I really, really love that. Like that gives life and energy, and those individuals in your audience already know when you help someone, you just feel better. You get a lot more energy when you help people. And so that's really what Jumpstart is all about. One of the key concepts, or I would say even our mantra, is learn you, right? So so much of our world, so much of how we've grown up as adults, from kids to adults, is about learning someone else's process or learning someone else's expectations. And oftentimes we forget who we are. So at Jumpstart, we are all about kind of bringing it back in and helping, whether it be the business owner, the business executive, the individual, or even the youth, to really bring it back to center and say, who are you? Let's get into you. Let's learn you.
Okay, I love that. And we do also have a Jumpstart app that I'm pretty sure it's just on Apple products right now.
No, it's
Android too?
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
yeah,
So you have Android and Apple. It's called the Jumpstart Solutions app.
And Patience built that with her brother.
Yes.
Patience is quite skilled. Just saying.
Okay. Me and my brother worked on that, and my dad worked on that together. So we definitely have a family business, and I help him when he goes into the junior high schools a little bit whenever I can get off of work. So, which I love doing that too.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I texted you yesterday about pivoting. So
Yes.
What was something that came to your mind, or something that you wanted to share about pivoting?
Yeah, so Patience, we were just at a conference over the weekend, the Spectrum Leadership Conference, and there was
conference.
Awesome conference. But one of the presenters was really getting into pivoting and why pivoting is so important. As she was talking, though, I was thinking about my love for sports, my love for basketball, and although I'm not the typical size of a quote-unquote big man, as a big man when I played in high school, it was very important. Pivoting was very important as a big man, because it kind of got you out of trouble, but it also put you in scoring positions, right? And it really was something that you had to like become comfortable with, right? Because once as you were trying to maybe get rid of the ball, maybe make a pass, the individual that you were trying to pass to was not available. So you had to pivot to come to the second option. Sometimes you had to hold on to the ball to your third option, right? But that was all a part of pivoting, right? In that way. And I love playing big man, right? But that's kind of where my mind was going to when she was talking and as you were talking about pivoting.
Sounds good. So when you talk about expand more on that, when you're saying your first option, second option, what do you mean by that?
Yeah. So oftentimes, I guess in life, there are things that we want to do and that we set out to do primarily, right? And many times the first thing that we set out to do, the first thing that we thought we were going to be successful in, many times the first thing doesn't necessarily work. Now, the first thing might present itself in college, right? The first thing might present itself as we get into the workforce. And sometimes it might take some time, we might have hit the first one, but then we hit a traumatic time in our life, right? So I remember a time, this was probably about 7 or 8 years ago, that I had gotten downsized from 2 jobs within a 5-year period.
Wow. That's
So
okay.
as those difficult times happened, and I say difficult very loosely, to be honest with you, the first one was a little difficult. The second one, I was literally excited and jumping around and bouncing around.
Okay.
And the story around the second time had
because I was going to ask.
Yeah. So the story around the second time, that morning I had gotten up with your stepmom, and I had said to her, I should just go in and quit because I was already not fulfilled. We had been in conversation, I want to say for months at that point. But, it was kind of building, like I need to be doing more. There's more inside of me. Yeah, I need to transition. I need to move. I need to do something different. And at first she said, okay, go ahead, go in, tell them that you're finished. And then she got kind of cold feet. Yeah. And then she said, no, let's just start looking, right? And so I was like, okay. We'll just start.
If I'm remembering correctly, this is the job where you were making like money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the last 2 I was making money.
Oh, okay.
But this last one, it was good money.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good money. And but I wasn't fulfilled and I wasn't satisfied. And that's, from a pivoting standpoint, patients, it oftentimes are those times in our lives where the proverbial door closes that we have to pivot. We have to change direction. We have to do something different. And so I went into work that day. Unbeknownst to me, supervisor, president at the time, because I was in second in command at that time, calls me in. Hey, long story short, we're going to need to let you go today. Because I was kind of had that sense and feel that I was ready and it just wasn't working. I cannot tell you how overjoyed I was.
Yeah.
But not just that, patients. That is when Jumpstart actually happened. That's when Jumpstart came to be, right? And I've been doing Jumpstart full time for the last 7 or 8 years, right? And so I was ready. Right? I knew, and so somebody might say, well, how do you know that you're ready? Because you're not fulfilled, because you're not satisfied, because you're tormented to do some of the things that you're calling life, right? And I just personally don't believe that anyone should be tormented in life. I believe that the individuals in your audience, and I believe just human beings in general, should be very fulfilled. People in general, I believe, are very talented, very skilled. Oftentimes, they may not be making the kind of money that they want to make, but if you're fulfilled, the money really doesn't matter. Because like I said, I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars, but was tormented.
Yeah.
That's no fun. Yeah. The money's not worth it. So, yeah.
Okay, that's good. That was a really good answer.
But patience, as I was thinking about pivoting, you were a Division I athlete as well.
Yeah.
And playing volleyball, there was a lot of pivoting in that sport. But I remember when you transitioned from one school to the next. So why don't you tell your audience about that time when you were almost not a Division I athlete.
I couldn't take it anymore. No, first thing I will say is if you want to be an athlete or any type of college athlete, make sure you really love that sport, because once, no matter what division I guess I would say Division I like pulls you the most, but I would say in all divisions, it just like, it gets to the point where it's like, even if everyone on the team sucks and your coaches suck, you still have to show up there, you know? And you need to it needs to be fun for you to at least do something to show up. So like, I didn't really like working out, but I loved practice and I loved the games. So like, that was really just like what got me to hold on. So that's just the first thing I want to say, because you know, when you're younger, you're just like, I just want to play whatever sport. I love it so much. And then you get there and you're like, this sucks. Like, this is like a full-time job.
Here's the thing too, though, Patience, with that, it sucks. I think that is a pattern in individuals' lives. When we first start something, generally our energy is the most high, most positive. And over time, it kind of wanes on us and kind of wears us down. So
yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was at my first school. So they had talked to me since I was like 16, 15.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. I had that was like the first school that I visited, and then I visited 2 others, but I just loved the other school so much.
Yep.
And then I loved the coach. I literally loved everything about it. So I signed when I was a junior in high school. And then my senior year, I think I had just like officially signed.
Yeah.
It was like 2 days later, they call and they're like, yeah, your coach got fired.
Yeah.
And they were like, you can either pull out of the contract or you can just stay in school. Like, we'll keep your scholarship. I had a full ride. And I was like, I do not feel like going to visit other schools. Like, I'll just take the chance and do it.
Right.
And freshman year was like, it was fine. I didn't really like it. And then sophomore year, I like hated it, and I was like, I'm quitting. I almost quit in the middle of the season, but my dad was like, my parents were like, no, just stick it through. Like, you'll regret if you just quit. Like, you're not a quitter. And I was like, okay, fine.
Right.
And I started doing this counseling session with a guy, like he's a sports counselor. And it was anonymous, so like I was asking him things like, okay, if I transfer, will I still get my scholarship? He kind of just like helped me to process feelings.
Right.
And I ended up realizing about myself that I just didn't really have anyone that was connecting with me.
Sure.
So not to make it like a race thing, but I was the only black girl and dark-skinned girl on the team.
Sure.
The only other black person that was even like in the coaching was an assistant coach, and he was a black guy.
Right.
But he wasn't there. He was there my sophomore season. So I really like didn't have anyone to connect with.
Sure.
And a lot of those girls were from that area, so they kind of like knew it. I was the one, I think I might have been close to like the farthest one that was away, you know?
Yeah.
So
outside of your international, you probably had some international students.
We had 2 international people, and me and her were the closest, just because we understood that we didn't really have a lot of people to connect with. So that was very hard. And my first time being away from family, I was 7 hours away. So it was just like a lot to process by myself, not being able to like go home on the weekends. And I'm by myself a lot of the times, because the 2 girls that came in with me were from there. So they got to go home all the time.
Right.
So then obviously I figure out I don't like it, and I transferred to the new school, and I'm not really a school person, so I didn't like that school either, but I liked volleyball. I liked the volleyball team a lot more. Yeah. And it really just showed me my, what's the word? Resilience?
Yeah.
Because I really did contemplate quitting volleyball. And even now it's like crazy, like for me to think that I even thought about that, but that just shows you like how much I hated the other school.
Sure.
But it really was just like about the surroundings and about, I would even say just my growth. Like, I don't regret going to the other school, because it really did show me a lot about myself and about just how I was able to make a better decision just to take the knowledge from the first time I was looking at schools. And I had people helping me a little bit more, like from a league and stuff like that.
Sure.
Old coaches reaching out to people that were open, because if you don't know, sometimes it can be kind of hard depending on the timing of when you decide to decommit from the other school and go to others, to like decide to open yourself up to other schools. So yeah, but it really just showed me my resilience, and that like the first picture it's okay for the first picture to go away if you're just willing to like stand on faith, because when I was transferring, I didn't know if I was going to get another scholarship. Like, I felt like I could get some scholarship, but I was like, I'm going from a complete full ride where I don't have to pay for anything to I don't really know what it's going to be like anymore.
Right.
But I just know I can't stay here, even though it is getting paid for,
right.
you know?
And
so,
that's the pivotal point, pun intended, right? That you knew, I'm done in this space.
Right.
And most people are done in spaces, patients, but they stay in those spaces that they're actually done. So just imagine an individual that doesn't pivot, is afraid to pivot, right? What happens to that individual? And I'm telling you, like, in your audience, there are some of those individuals, but I would say there are millions of those individuals in our world, right? That are in situations that they hate, right? One of the statements that's made all the time is, "Hey, what's going on? Same old, same old." Oh no, no, don't say that. Don't say same old, same old. No, it's not same old, same old.
Right.
It should be something new, right? We have to be learning, patients. As a human being, we have to be learning. I believe we have to be learning, and I believe that learning is directly connected to playing, right? Children, the reason why children learn so much is because they play so much, right?
Try so many different things.
Yeah, they try so many different things, and they're not taking everything so seriously, right? So you know, but as adults, we then get responsibilities, we get bills, and now we're working to pay bills, and we're not working to make a life, right? And I just encourage your audience, live to make a life, not a living, right? Like, you'll be surprised how little it takes, how little money it actually takes to pay bills if you do it right and you get ahead of it, right? Now, if you're behind it, like, we can help you there too, kind of a thing. But just don't live to pay bills, right? Like that's another big piece, right? And I will say,
can you tell he's a life coach?
Right. I will say that, patients, you did get to that next school, and you did get that Division I offer again at the new school. So that's a big deal.
Yeah,
that's a big deal. You took a chance. You pivoted. You moved towards that opportunity, and it worked. And if it hadn't worked there, you had other schools that were looking for you and looking at you, and we had visited as well, right? So oftentimes the whole point of pivoting as well is to understand we as human beings have options. You have options, right? Like, it's not just one. Okay, I went to school for this. But just because you went to school for something doesn't mean that your next job, or the job after that, or the job after that, or the job that most interests you will be necessarily connected to what you went to school for, right? So just options is another big kind of concept and principle to keep top of mind as you're living your life and as you come to points of pivoting, right? And I call points of pivoting like choice points, when you have to make some really key choices in your life.
With that, there were multiple people after after graduating and stuff, and they were like, I wish I would have left. I was just too scared. I didn't know I didn't know what the offers were going to be like. But they're like, I'm really glad that you were able to find happiness and just do it, even though you didn't know what was going to happen and stuff like that. So even though I was the only one that left in that time, I think I was. But still, even though I was the only one that left, they were trying to make me feel like I was crazy. They were trying to gaslight me all. They were trying to make me feel bad. And I was like, no.
Well,
I
want to say you were the leading scorer, or probably second leading scorer on that team.
My freshman year I was the second, and then my sophomore year I was the first.
Yeah, so of course they're going to be like, what are you doing, and what are you doing to our team?
Yeah, I was like, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really good learning experience for all of us. So you have a saying that I always like. It's called, where your thoughts go, your energy flows.
Gotcha.
So would you like to expand on that a little bit and just even though I know, just tell the audience about what that really means.
Sure. Where your thoughts go, your energy flows. I think a lot of times people want to do different things, but their thoughts are in the wrong place. And when our thoughts are in the wrong place, like your friends at that past college, they wanted to do something different,
Right.
but their thoughts were kind of telling them something different. What happens, and this is a very high level overview, but what happens when we think a thought, there's a chemical release that releases in our brain, releases chemicals in our brain that then causes us to feel a certain way. And we then describe that feeling. I feel happy, I feel sad, I feel good, I feel bad. And those are very general statements. But that is all triggered by a thought, right? So when you have a thought, this thought then causes chemicals to be released. The chemical release then causes us to feel. But then we start acting and moving and behaving in a way that's consistent with the feeling, right? And so when I say where your thought goes, your energy flows, it really is to say that the thought then is kind of the predecessor to how you're going to feel. And then we make decisions based on how we feel, right? And so it's always, so that's that. I do believe also that every goal has an energy state connected to it, right? So you wanted to find a school, you wanted to have a great time playing volleyball, you wanted to connect, right? So you had these thoughts were telling you there's a school out there that you can find, that you can play volleyball and have a great time.
Right.
And you weren't in the place and space that you were having a great time. So that thought was producing the chemical that then was producing the energy or creating the feeling that you could not resist. Like that feeling, those chemicals were overtaking you to succeed, to move, to grow, to be happy, to be fulfilled, whatever we want to call it, right? And so generally speaking, at Jumpstart, that's why we take a ton of time with dealing with thoughts, right? Because people are, these are things that we learned in school, maybe in middle school or high school. What I'm describing in terms of the thought and the chemicals and, and the feelings, we learned that, but we didn't necessarily apply it to our lives. And so, it's just really a reminder, what you're thinking about is actually producing the emotion, right? We oftentimes think the situation is producing the emotion. So then that's where I go, patients, to learning and relearning. There's a lot of things that we've learned. We've learned how to, let's say, respond to life. We've learned how to respond to things that we don't like. We've learned how to go to a job that we don't like and just keep going there every day.
Yeah, so to add on to that, with the feelings that you were saying, I feel like we also, with like responding, we also allow ourselves to have like bad days. Like we'll say it's a bad day. But it's just like we're allowing the things that are happening to us to affect how we feel. Which yes, we can have a bad 5 minutes. But that doesn't mean we had a bad day. You know what I mean? Like,
I do.
Because then we've all had those days where like something bad happens in the morning and then we're like, oh, here we go. And then
something bad like your eyelids open.
And then it's like so many, they're just like small things. It's just like bad. Or like you're late to work and then your coffee, like, I don't know, your coffee's bad and you pay for your coffee. Then it's like an extra meeting and then it's, you know what I'm saying? It's just then it's just like, because you're already thinking, okay, here we go. You weren't like, okay, there's just one bad thing, again, let's move on.
Again, to your point, we don't realize that every time we have that bad thought, it's a chemical release.
Right.
Yeah,
it's just
chemical release.
It's just adding.
And it's solidifying the feeling. The chemical release is the feeling. The chemical release is the feeling. Bad, chemical release, feeling. Bad, chemical release, feeling, right? And that's where, if you know that, like for me, for us, I'm like kind of trying to drill it. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do every day is smile and say to myself, it's going to be a good day. Like, I don't care what's going on. I can feel like crap. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going in the dark before I get to my phone. I'm up at 5 o'clock.
I can just think about this.
I'm telling you, every day I smile and I say in my mind, this is going to be a good day. Mm-hmm. Right? And I just sit there and just get into that. I'm feeling that emotion right there. I'm just getting into that emotion like, there's nothing that's going to happen today that's going to take me out. I have my own business, right? Like, so now I'm talking that talk. Yeah. Or I could get into, look at our political, or look at our economical, or look at this, or look at that, or look at some situation that I heard of, right? Like there's always a ton of negative that we can get into. Mm-hmm. We can create our own positive. For sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't smile when I wake up.
Trust me.
But I do. I do definitely pray and like set my intention for the day though. Absolutely. Like before I even touch my phone. Or, I try to, obviously I don't do it every time, but I try to make sure that as soon as I wake up, I thank God for waking me up, but then I also just say like, in my head, I say we're gonna be happy today. Like we're gonna find the good things. Yeah. Because I feel like the more that, even though it may be hard, like sometimes you may only find 2 things or whatever, but the more that we do it, the easier it is to like keep pulling for those positive things. Then it's like, when you really think about it, there's so many things to be grateful for and to be positive about. So it's like, it can't ruin you. Like even the negative things can ruin you. Or like, it just matters the mindset that you're in, like when you first wake up and what intentions you set. Because I've had both of them where you wake up and you don't set the intention and then your coffee falls on the ground and you're like, oh my God. And then like the times when you do it and you're like, oh my gosh. And then you're laughing about it and you clean it up and then it's just like you keep on, you know what I mean? So it's just
what you're describing right there, patience, is the pivot. Right. Like and it's a very, to your point, it's a very intentional act of, you can either go, or you can go, right? Like that 2 choices, boom, boom. And those choices are coming so quickly that if we have not prepared ourselves, it's a training. It's a learning and a relearning. It's a training and a retraining for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so I think we're good. Do you have any closing remarks or anything?
Well, I would just say to your audience, as they are being redefined, as you come into those points of pivoting, to realize that pivoting is a part of life, right? It's not people that make bad choices have to pivot more than people that make great choices, right? Pivoting is a part of life, and a lot of times the need to pivot is out of our control. So really focus on the things that we can control when those choice points or those pivot points happen, right? And we can always choose to look on the positive or look at the positive or, hey, this is really bad, but, I'm going to make the most of it, right? Because when you say that, there's an energy release that happens. And so I just want you to right now, I want you to pay attention to this. This is a little quick exercise. Okay. I want you to smile. And that as you smile, that tingly feeling that you feel, you intentionally created the moment to release a chemical into your body that made you feel good about being here with Patience and I and For the Redefined.
I like that. Okay. Thank you, Dad, for being here.
So glad to be here. Thanks for asking. And this is big time. It's really cool.
Yes. Okay, y'all. I think we're good. Bye.
Bye-bye.